show on the web. Hot Topics with him and her, with Sanders and Valerie Tisdale. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Hot Topics with him and her. It's your boy Sanders Tisdale.
And your girl Val Tisdale. Happy Friday Eve, everyone.
That's right. Guys, we got a special show for you guys tonight. A lot of stuff we got to talk about, a lot of stuff we got to get off our chest, and we want to do it here tonight. We want to thank you guys for joining us again in a new season. A lot of things happening. Val, you know, you had a lot of things going on with you. We're going to talk a lot about that later on in the show. But you know what? Hot Topics is back. I mean, that, you know what?
And we're back.
It's been a hiatus,
a long one. But we're back to stay.
Yeah,
we're back to stay. We're not playing around anymore.
Yeah,
this is it.
It's all full throttle, guys. So make sure you stay tuned. So now, you know what? Let's start it off how we always do. Hot topics. We get to a lot of hot topics. So I want to hear from you guys. Make sure you hit us on the board. We're streaming live, Facebook Live, also streaming live on YouTube. We're going to be streaming live to quite a few outlets. So make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be a hot season. It's going to be a new season. And it's here on Hot Topics with him and her. So, babe, let's start off the show right now with one hot topic that's out there right now.
Let's do it.
And a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people have seen it. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
You know what? You remember the whole situation with Will Smith? That whole situation with him and what was the
Chris
guy?
Rock.
Chris Rock.
Yep.
The whole situation was something together.
Oscars.
So I want to keep an eye on that. I'm going to get you guys feedback on. You tell me, what do you think you would do if you was in this situation? Would you accept an apology or wouldn't you?
Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
So you guys hear that, right? Now, let me say now, you're in the same situation. We all know the situation, what happened. Chris Rock gets the ultimate slap, babe. I mean, the ultimate slap. I mean, you know what? And when I say slap, this guy...
He slapped the piss out of him.
Yeah, well, let's keep it clean here tonight. He slapped him, and you know what? I want to get your thoughts, guys, now. This is a slap, and a guy going on TV and apologizing. And my thought process is to that, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if I can get with it. And I understand that, I hear the old adage, turn the cheek and, I don't know, turn the cheek and let him slap the other cheek. I don't know what it is at this point, but give me your feedback, babe, on that whole situation.
Well, I mean, the slap happened, 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, something like that. And it's still, heavy in the news. But what we're specifically talking about is a couple days ago, Will Smith did it. In my opinion, and I agree with the general census, it was a straight PR move. He officially apologized to Chris Rock. I did not think that it was insincere at all. I thought it was BS. There was a lot of me from Will Smith, not enough true apologizing to Chris Rock. A lot of people have said that they don't believe him. I'm in agreement with him. In the apology, he also apologized to Chris Rock's mother. And I am also in agreement that is something that he should have done privately behind closed doors. I get, you're a celebrity. The act itself did hurt for a minute, not long term, but it did hurt Will Smith's career for a minute. As we know, he's banned from any Oscars events for the next 10 years. I think that when it did happen, he should not have been allowed to accept his award. I think that that should have been the start of the punishment. But you know, that's neither here nor there. The apology specifically, babe, I don't I don't believe it. I think it was a straight PR move. Um and he's a heck of an actor, since we're keeping this PG. He's a heck of an actor, and I really think he acted his way through that apology.
I I'm in agreement with you. I mean, for the fact is that you know what, he put the apology out there. He went live with the apology. Will Smith did what he did to Chris Rock. But the fact is, can I get down with it? Because the fact is that that's something that'll never go away.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter
Yeah.
what you do, your grandkids are gonna see
Yeah.
you gotten slapped.
Yeah.
Their grandkids are gonna watch TV
Yeah.
and say, "Is that Pappy up there getting slapped?" I
Yeah.
mean, that's how bad it's gotten to that point. And how do you expect that man just to get over that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and so that's the thing. Will Smith's got to understand is that you did something that was irrehensible to me,
Yeah.
and not just that, you did it on a night that should have been there with people getting their awards and everything. Guys,
Absolutely.
give us your thoughts on the board. What do you think about Will Smith's apology to Chris Rock just recently? Just happened a couple of days ago. He apologized again, saying, trying to, I guess, somewhat trying to pour his heart out to him. I guess he reached out to him. But what do you want to say to a guy that did something to you that'll
On national
never,
TV.
yeah, that'll never be lived down, so
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. But I'm not stating any facts here at all, people, but it just occurred to me that possibly, babe, maybe there's some rumbling of lawsuits, and maybe that's why this apology is coming out now. I don't know. This is not factual. I have not heard anything. I'm just saying maybe behind closed doors, there has been discussion of some lawsuits going on, which I think Will deserves. But I just find it weird that, after all this time, he comes out with this apology. He's not accepting any questions. It absolutely was pre-written, which again, to me, it makes it just not sincere. I don't know. I find it weird.
Yeah, guys, like we said, text on the board. We're gonna get your feedback of what you guys think of that whole situation. You think it's something that should go down? Do you think it's not? And also, I want to make sure, and I didn't put it out there. We got a live number for you guys to check out. So make sure you can call in, give us your feedback. 585-210-3917. 585-210-3917. It's all there. We want to hear your feedback as well. And actually, you know what? Now that the whole situation is done with Chris Rock, well, it's not done to us, but a lot of people are getting tired of hearing it. But you know what? It's got to be said. Will Smith's got to know. Leave it alone. You did enough damage, so
Right.
leave it where it is,
Right.
and that be that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like I said, he's a movie star. He's somebody who's out there trying his best to get what he can get, and I hope to God that he can just leave it alone. But you know what, guys? Like we said, get your feedback. We want it here tonight on
Come
Hot
on.
Topics with him and her. We waiting for you. 585-210-3917. I'm going to put the number up on the board as well. We're taking calls tonight. We're doing it live. We're doing it hard. And we're going to come up with some more topics. Now, one thing that I have for this next topic that's going to be blazing hot as well. Should men always be the one to propose marriage? Now, let me ask you. I want to find out. Should men always be the one to always propose marriage? We want to know, is it true? I mean, what do you think?
I think yes. I say let's stick to some traditions, and I think that is one of the traditions that we should stick to. Um, I mean, if you've been together as a couple for like 7-8 years, and as a woman, you're like, is he? When? Go ahead, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Do it, but I think traditionally, yes, I believe that a man should be the one to make that proposal. I stick with that tradition for sure. I think it's something, not to say that we as women can't make it romantic, but I think it's something very romantic about a man, getting on his knee, or doing something, spectacular while proposing. And I think it's men usually aren't romantic, or you guys aren't really known to be romantic. So this is one of those moments that you men can shine. And so let's say, yeah, keep it up. Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
agree with that one.
actually, I believe we got a caller on the line. I believe it's still on there. Hey, do we still got the caller on the line? All right. Let me see. Actually, you know what? He was calling in, and I thought I heard him. Let me see if I can get him. Let me see if I can get him back on there.
And maybe also with that too, is there a timeline of when a man should propose to a woman? That's another thing. How long do us women, want to hang on in there before we get that proposal? Do we hang on in there 2 years, 3 years? When is good timing for that proposal? I think that's another thing too. I think the world changes, every year, every 5 years, every day, every month, every decade. The world is changing and the people in it are changing, which is wonderful. Back in the day, you would date someone for a year and a half, 2 years maybe. You'd expect to get married, have the kids, get the house, all of that good stuff. Times are different now. People are different. Things are different.
I think this is him on there, of course. Let's see if we got him. Hey, do we got you on the line yet? I don't know. For some reason, he's not coming through. But so we'll probably have to end up getting we're
having some technical difficulties. Yeah. Stay tuned. Stay with us, people.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to ask the caller, just type on the board and we'll get the feedback from there. Because you should be coming through here, but it is what it is. But
we apologize for that. What wouldn't be a season premiere without just a little glitch here or there?
Exactly,
that's what makes the show interesting.
Exactly. Guys, like we said, make sure you put your comments on the board. Actually, we wanted to take calls tonight, but we could take calls as well once I get this all straightened out. A lot of things happening now with that topic.
Besides the technical difficulties, there are a lot of things happening.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now let me ask you. Now you said that to you believe that the man should always be the person to make that.
I do.
I don't agree, and I'm saying that from an instance of the fact that I've seen it where they had women that proposed to guys now, and as you can see right there, you look at him, he's all happy and glee. But the thing about it is, I've seen women that propose to guys. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. I've seen women that sat there and said, you know what? Well, if I love them, this is what is it? This is the 2000s or 2020s or whatever. I should be able to get a ring, marry this guy, show him that I love him. But you know what? The opposite is, I think I can see the feedback coming from the family though. That's the only problem I can see. I think a guy would be okay with somebody proposing or asking about marriage.
Definitely.
But I think the problem would be the fact of that individual family.
Oh, the woman's family?
Of course.
Yeah. Absolutely. I can hear it now. Girl, why didn't you wait for him, to get the ring?
Yep.
Yada yada.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's so embedded in us, as a society, that's what you do. The guy proposes, not the woman. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm all for the guy. I'm with that tradition.
Hey
sure.
Guys, let's hear your feedback on the board. Like I said, we want to get your feedback to make sure what you guys think about that whole situation of the woman proposing to the man. Should that be okay or should it not be okay? I think it should be okay. But you know what? Like I said, if my daughter went and proposed to some guy, I would be upset, and I probably would be a little upset. And also, I do see our special guest. He's on already, so which is a good thing. So just making sure that's as well. And the fact is, babe, you see that that the guy, always proposes to the woman, and woman, so taking a new step, 2020s, y'all trying to propose or whatever. And I'm with that. But let me ask you this. Now, in the marriage realm, should the woman always take the last name of the man? Or should it be vice versa? I'm asking you women out there tonight, put your stuff on the board. I want to hear what you think. Should it matter?
And listen, beautiful people, I really struggled with this. Do you remember this, babe? When Sanders and I got engaged and we were getting closer to the actual ceremony, and him and I, we didn't have any, drag out fights, but you and I, we did have some arguments because, and this is the only reason, because my maiden name, Sullivan, I have one sister, no other siblings. And so I wanted to carry that Sullivan name. And because my sister had been married, so she had taken on her ex-husband's name. So that was, I really struggled with that. Now, thinking about it, I probably definitely could have hyphenated it, which I did not. But do I regret taking my husband's name? No, not at all. And I wear it and I carry it with such pride and honor. But I think that it's in some ways it's you're giving up a huge part of your identity when you take on your spouse's name. And I struggled with that. We've been together for 17 years, married for 14. So everything is good, now. But I think a lot of women struggle with that it's you're giving a huge piece of your identity. You're giving that up. So I think hyphenating as a woman, taking your new husband's last name, taking your husband's last name is a beautiful, wonderful thing. But I think hyphenating it is even more beautiful. I think it's a little weird for a guy to take the wife's name.
I've seen it though. I've seen it
too. I just, one of those traditions, I'm just, I think that's a little weird, but hey, woman power, go ahead. If you're going to take your wife's last name, ain't nothing wrong with that, honey. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Do it.
Like I said, again, like I said, I see our guest down there. So we're going to be with him shortly. You guys got to see this individual, phenomenal guy. So once you meet him,
brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant
guy. So make sure you hang around for that as well. And he's coming in at the 7 o'clock hour. We also want to get to our next question. Now, let me ask you this. This is going to be a deep one, guys. And that's why I'm laughing. Here's one. Here's one that's real quick, and I want to ask you guys: Is there such thing as too old to be married to a younger person? Should there be a age gap? Is the age gap too much, or is it way too much? What's a bad age gap and for a relationship? Now, you know what I mean. I mean, like, should you be? Can you be 50 or 58 dating a 23-year-old girl? I mean. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm trying to keep it PG. I have such a potty mouth, and these questions are killing me. I have such a potty mouth. Heck to the no. I think anything over 10 years is way. It's too much. It's too much. What do you have in common? What do you? The maturity level, I think, is going to be way off, way different. Anything over 10, no, I'm not with. I can't get down with it.
Anything over 10? Nah, come on now.
Anything over 10 years, I think it's too much.
Guys, let us know what you think. Now I've seen we've seen it in Hollywood anyway, where you get guys that are like 63 years old, 73 years old, having kids with 22, 23, 24, 28-year-old girls. Now,
that double standard.
Can I do that? And there's a lot of people that's writing on the board. I wanted to make sure I got everybody. Let me see. I got one that says 20 and 80 years old is a no for me. Of course, that's a no for me. That's you're going after a pension. You're not going after a relationship. You're going after pensions. There's a difference there. Like I said, what do you? I mean, that,
Right, I say no. Anything over 10. But the example that you gave had my eyes rolling in the back of my head, because that is that double standard. We talk about, a 50-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman, and that's acceptable and that's okay, and that's, you people don't bat an eyelash over that. But if it was reversed, a woman being 50, the guy being 20, man, they would get some looks walking down the street or in the grocery store pushing that cart. I'm serious. They would get some looks.
uh,
It's a double standard. In part, I say nothing over 10. Nothing over 10.
I gotta
I
admit,
don't know.
that right there kind of looks kind of weird to me. It
It's that double, but see,
But-
that's okay, right? That's okay.
what? Oh yeah,
See,
well,
see,
cause think about
I
it.
rested.
If
I
they-
rested.
With a man, all you need is some Grecian formula. You know what I'm saying? You Grecian formula. Me and my guests, we talk about that once in a while. I love Grecian formula. Or you cut it like we said, skin is in. You know what I mean? So it's all about how it is. And women are not so much geared towards looks per se. I mean, don't get me wrong. You don't want to be with some crazy looking person, but I mean, women are not so much geared on looks. You guys go by that inner thing. I don't know what it is that, this guy's got a little bit of arrogance to him, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little edge to him, or blah blah blah. That's what women get attracted to. And also, we know it, women get attracted to money. They get attracted to cars, they get attracted to houses, they get attracted to a lot of things like that. Men, you know what? You can be flipping burgers in Burger King, McDonald's, or whatever it is. Nothing against those.
Because they're making good. Now, mind you, they're starting off at $15 an hour. So I'm just putting that. Hey, I'm putting that up.
$15 an hour.
$15
Boy,
an
you
hour.
can have a hell of a life.
See, no, I'm just saying. Listen, it used to be 7. Not too long ago, it was 7. Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, but it's like I said, there's where that difference is, and like we said, it's all in there, guys. We want your feedback. I'm getting a lot of feedback on the other boards as well. I heard people saying it depends on the person's mindset, which is true. Like I said, it goes with the mindset. But you know what? Women aren't so much based off of the looks. You know if a guy is not bad looking or ABCD, but the fact is that I've seen some beauty queens out there with some some things I thought were from other planets.
You guys are based off of looks. You guys are absolutely based off of looks.
Okay.
We can, you know what? If you guys go, not all, okay, but the majority of the male species, if you're put on a blind date, right? Go to the bar, restaurant, whatever, and she's not physically attractive, you're not going to go on a second date. 9 out of 10 times you're not going to go on a second date. Now, a woman, on the other hand, if the guy isn't that attractive, 9 out of 10 times we will try again.
Yeah,
especially if
you would
he's
try
nice.
to see if this guy has a beautiful wallet, if this guy has a beautiful home, if he has a beautiful Ferrari.
If the conversation was good, right? If he seemed, interested in what we were talking about, we would 9 out of 10 times try to do it again. We would say, oh, let's do this again. You guys are shallow. Remember the movie Shallow Hal?
I sure do.
Okay. All right. And drop the pen. I rest my case.
Somebody on the board said women do it too. I got see that.
We
I'm telling you,
do,
they
but
do.
I
They
don't.
do.
I think you guys do it more than we do.
Hey, well,
That's my opinion. I think you guys do it way, way, way more than we do.
well, we'll see about that, guys. Like I said, these guys are tearing up the boards here on the different outlets. It's funny the stuff they're writing. But guys, we got another topic for you. So I want to hear what your feedback is on this. So when you continue a relationship with someone that says, you know what, we've been dating for a while, let's come clean. Let's get this relationship going, and let's put all our stuff out on the table. And that individual says to you, you know what, I used to go out and drink, and when I get drunk, I would have multiple one-night stands. Now, I ask you people out there, I'm
You
asking,
beautiful people out there.
yeah, you beautiful people out there. Would this be a relationship that you would continue with? Now, I'm
Dun
asking you.
dun. I, mm, I, we'd have to get some tests done. We'd have to get. Hey,
Yeah, you're right.
we'd have to get some tests done, and I'd have to be there with the, yeah. We'd
To watch
yeah.
the results.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mhm. Yeah, we'd have to. Oh yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
agree with you
I'm
totally.
not. No, we not.
I agree with you
Nah.
totally.
Nah.
And
Yeah, we'd have some issues. We'd have some issues. Now, babe, you're talking about like, okay, so how long have we?
been in this together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be modest. I'm gonna say, let's say you were in that relationship with this person for close to a year.
Okay.
Yep. And it got serious,
Okay.
and it came about to that time. We said, let's put all the cards on the table because we want to make that move. And that
And we've been intimate.
oh, of course.
Yeah, we'd have some problems. we'd have some problems. We're gonna be needing to take some tests. I'd have some words.
Oh yeah. We'd have
Absolutely, because that's not a 1 year. That's a month, 2 month in kind of conversation, not a 1 year in. Nah.
Oh yeah. I'm in agreement with you. Let's see.
No.
We still getting stuff on the boards.
Uh-uh.
Let's see. Well, I think a lot of them said I've had some stuff on there, which I'm not gonna put up in a moment. but it was some people saying things like, it don't matter. I don't think it matters at all. I like it. A lot of people out there putting up a lot of things, and that's what it's all about. I love it. Like I said, the boards are lighting up tonight, guys.
And they're gonna light up even more when
the replays.
In the replays. And once we have this next guest come on, this very special guest come on.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know what? We got to get to our next guest, because I don't know if my guest, could you give me the thumbs up if you can hear me or if you can see me? All right, he's on there. All right, cool. Now, so we're going to go into our next guest. It's the 7:00 hour, and we're going to bring this guest on the way he should be always brought on. This guy's a phenomenal, and not only is he a phenomenal guy, he's a doctor, and not just a
genius,
a
hero.
Yeah,
I can go on and on and on, but we just going to go right into introducing this man.
Right. Well, first, I want to get a little just so people know what's going on. So my wife has had this. I don't know if I call it an affliction, but she's been doing something for a while that wasn't the best. And when I say that, I mean
3/4 of my life.
Right, 3/4 of your life. When did you probably start smoking?
15.
15?
15.
15? Now, she started smoking when she was 15 years old. Now, I don't want to give age away, but she's a beautiful young lady, and she's doing what she needs to do. But the thing about it is, once you've been doing it for so long, it gets to that point to where there needs to be a change. There needs to be a change, not just for yourself, but for your family, because your family wants to see you there for a while. Your family wants to see the great things in our. And if it wasn't for individuals who we have like on tonight's show, that wouldn't be possible.
Genius, lifesaver,
and one thing we can
hero. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. That's the God's honest truth.
Right. And,
absolutely.
Yep. And one thing I want to say before we get it all started too is, like, we don't push anything on anybody.
Not at all.
It's a simple fact of that. You know what? This show, we sit here and we tell you things. You take it or leave it value. This is we try to tell you things that worked for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this particular product, it worked for me. And I had a very good friend who not to put their business out, but they were smokers. They decided to quit, her and her husband, and she said, well, you know what, this is what I've been using. And they were really my motivational factors. I've tried before in the past, but this for me worked beautifully. Absolutely. can I show the product? I don't know if I can show the
Why
product.
don't we wait till let's
Okay.
introduce him.
Yes. So anyway, like I said, lifesaver, Superman, hero. I woo 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 woo. Genius. So let's just introduce him. Hot day.
Let's get, without further ado, we're
Yes.
gonna introduce our guest.
Yes.
And I made an intro video for him because he's a phenomenal individual. Had a lot of things going on this week, but I wanted him to have a special, greeting onto the show. So here we go. We know someone, or even been there ourselves, with the old adage of how do we find ways to stop smoking? Well, our guest tonight, with a love of organic chemistry in his veins, and also an undergraduate at Harvard, where he worked with Professor William Von E. Dorn, ranked the most feared professor at Harvard by students, and later with William R. Rausch at MIT, where he received his PhD in synthetic organic chemistry. A brief postdoctoral work with Bill Rausch at Indiana University. 300-page papers became the norm for this individual. Fast forward, 30 plus years later, a well-respected medicinal chemist, numerous awards, Heroes of Chemistry Award, and the 2015 ACS Awards of Creative Innovation. 100 publications and patents, and has given numerous presentations. Working with Brian O'Neill and Hans Lomella, a team leading discovery of Chantix, an aid to stop smoking cessation treatment was developed. Please help us welcome Dr. Jotham Cole to Hot Topics with him and her.
And what's the hot topic?
Welcome. Well, you have already met my husband, but it is an absolute pleasure to finally, absolutely, officially meet you. It is an absolute honor and pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
And you too. Should I tell them how we met?
Sure.
So my nephew Ben has a wonderful house cleaner who quit smoking, and he said, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And she said, "Well, I use this medicine called Chantix, and worked great for me." He goes, "Wow, my uncle invented that." And then she goes, "Really? You think he'd want to be on our show?" And so here I am. And I didn't even know you had a show. I didn't even know she existed about a week ago. So here we are.
Yes. Small world. World.
It is. Yeah.
I'm glad I have a big mouth.
I didn't notice.
I'm glad I have a big mouth and I like to talk.
Well,
I have a similar problem, so we got to be careful. We only have an hour.
Right. Now, one of the things is a lot of people, you guys got to realize that how big this interview is. This guy, he invented the actual Chantix here, which my wife has been using.
This is my little
Tip
starter.
There you go. Starter pack, right?
Yeah, my starter pack. Yeah, and actually, this is so good that I still have 2 weeks left. I only needed to take it for 2 weeks, so I still have 2 weeks left, and this is my 5th week of being smoke free. So
awesome.
I have not needed this for 3 whole weeks, which is huge.
Now, excuse me, but how much money have you saved now?
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, it's been let's see, $480.
Yep. And was that a recommendation I made?
Yes, it was. Okay. And you know what?
You said 5 weeks, right?
It was such a wonderful recommendation that I shared with someone that I love dearly, my mother, who is always, she's hated that I was a smoker. I'm not a smoker anymore. And so she said, whatever I save, she will match so I can go on as she said, a very well-deserved trip. So that's the plan.
And I know a place you need to go. We can talk offline. Yeah. yeah, it's pretty good. In person, I hope one day.
Yes.
Good. Okay, but there's the numbers. See, that's 5 weeks at $13 a day.
Yeah.
So my recommendation was when you get to the end of a day quitting,
Yeah.
you just accomplished something big.
Yeah.
You didn't smoke. Okay, that's fine. But you know
Yeah.
what else? You got $13.
Yeah.
I mean, from
Yep.
the beginning of the time this made it to market, I was like, it's a free drug. You're already paying for smoking.
Right.
And so anyhow, that's something we
Absolutely.
can get into. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Jotham, let me ask you now. Me and you talked offline. I feel like we're brothers. You know what I mean? We cut our hair the same style. We both wear glasses so we can
Yeah.
see. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We're just brothers. That's all to it. And
That's
and
right.
the thing and the thing
Just
about
brothers
it
from another mother. That's all.
is, that's right. That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
But Jotham, let me ask you now, how did you finally came to that point to where you said, you know, you're this young kid that we seen up on the screen earlier. How did you get to that point to where you say, you know what? I think this is my thing, especially organic chemistry. And like I said, you're not just smart, brother. You're at another level of smart. Like I said, I can tell you if the hole is round that you need a screw or something like that to go in there. And I can tell you if it's square. You know what I mean? I know that stuff,
Yeah.
but you're on another level, brother.
Well, okay, quick answer, I guess, is I didn't know what I wanted to do. A lot of people think they know what they want to do. And one reason you go to college is to figure out what you want to do, but to learn about all the things you might do and how they work. And I was pretty clueless and didn't really have a plan. I wasn't going, I want to be a doctor. So maybe I did think about being a fighter jet pilot or something, maybe a race car driver. Okay, maybe I did, but you don't learn that in college. You got to do something else. So I was in college and had to choose a major, and I'm dyslexic. I don't read too well.
Right.
So I stayed back in first grade because of it. I had a 400 on my English SAT. So it was tough to get into Harvard, even though I had an 800 on the math. And at Harvard, you have to read a lot in a lot of courses, certainly history, things like that. In fact, I bought all 17 history books, sat beside my bed. And I'm like, wow, look at that. I mean, it was a stack. And I opened the first one. I couldn't get through the first paragraph without falling asleep because it was written by the ambassador to Japan.
Wow.
Who is an instructor. The other instructor was the ambassador to China. So, I mean, these guys knew what they were talking about. They didn't write the books for you and I, for people who can just read. So anyway, that was scary. And I had a chemistry professor who seemed to be having so much fun. And he wasn't even talking about what's supposed to be the fun chemistry I learned about the next year. And so I chose chemistry because, you know, this professor just loved it. He had so much fun when he was up there. So that's how I got into it. And then what you find out is, and that's a good analogy you had to having a round hole and putting a screw in it. That's what I do for a living. Is there are holes that don't look like a hole, but they are proteins and complicated things. But all it is a surface of this thing that's moving around. It's inside pretty much what is inside. They are inside every living thing on the planet, and probably in the universe. We're getting to that, I guess, with this new telescope. But, you know, the point is that medicines are things that fit into that slot.
Right.
And I didn't at the time really know that. What I do know is that, you know, making the molecules turned out to be its own puzzle. And it was very visual. So organic chemistry scares the heck out of just about everybody who ever just hears the word, never takes the course. And they think this is just impossible. And if you look at a chemistry book, I could show you some, they're like this thick and it's tough reading and all that stuff. Well, I had professors there who were fantastic, and they really simplified it down to about 10 different rules that are obeyed by nature.
Right.
And my job learning it was to actually accept that that's really what I learned today when I did something, or that week or whatever, that it isn't really so much complicated. It's intricate relationships of many things, but then what are the key ones you can identify? And then those few rules seem to apply every time. So then I found out I really liked it. Plus I got an A. An A is good. And then, you know, so I didn't get an A in everything, you know, at least not till then. So, yeah, so that's how I kind of got into it.
Yeah.
Is there a chance I can see you during this too? It's kind of fun
Yeah.
to talk to you rather than see me.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
There
Yeah, that's
we go.
better.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
good. There we are. Okay.
There we go. There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah,
He's
like,
got- he
like you
knows
said,
where
brother.
all the buttons are. He knows where all the buttons
Yeah.
And I haven't even asked Val that question yet. You know, so.
But one of the things we also want to ask you too as well is now being creating this, and this is something like we said that's helped a lot of people. I mean, me and you have talked offline about the magnitude of numbers of people that this has helped.
Wow. Yeah, many
Result.
tens of millions. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
tens
Yeah.
of millions.
If
like I
not
said,
more, it could be a lot more, but yeah.
See, that's what I say. They don't understand the importance of this. We're talking to this guy on here. This guy has created something that has helped many of people.
Oh,
many of people.
Absolutely. And it's not directly, it's not helping just directly the person that was a smoker. It's those that their families, their loved ones.
Exactly.
I did not smoke in the house, but there are people that do smoke in the house. They do have significant others that are getting that secondhand smoke, and kids and grandkids and all of that. So if you add those numbers just to the people that are taking Chantix, that's
Yep.
man, Heller, that's some come on now, come on.
You think you like what it does? I don't know. You might have to convince me. I don't know if I'm sure yet.
You got to
I
start.
didn't make that up. I just met Val. You know, she looks good. Certainly when I have my glasses on. So there you go. Yeah.
Well, now let me ask you this, Jotham. Have you ever been a smoker yourself in your life?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of smoking in my family. I think every aunt, uncle, grandparent, my parents, my sister, and I were all smokers. And yeah, I grew up with it. I mean, I used to remember walking in, my dad be, sitting in the red leather chair and reading a magazine, and had lit his Camel, and kind of like the smell. I mean, when you light them, they're pretty good. I don't like what you exhaust as much, but then there was like this blue smoke going up through the lamp that he was reading by, but when he exhaled it, it came out sort of white. It was almost like something's changing on the way in and out.
Mhm.
And I mean, nicotine isn't blue, but there are 4,000 things in cigarette smoke, so that's not good. So anyway, he died of what we believe was emphysema. I have a picture I didn't share. I can bring it up, showing what he looked like in college. Then after his first heart attack at 54, and then at our wedding, where he was standing outside looking pretty emaciated, and his mouth was like kind of around because he's trying to breathe, and he had a cigarette in his hiding it behind his back because he needed to smoke. And I think that's the problem, is that most smokers, like Val, didn't you need to smoke for 30 years?
Yeah.
Now you might have needed to stop the day after you started, but it took you 30 years to figure that out.
Absolutely.
So that's the way it is for most of us. So with me, I played with my parents' butts when I was alone. I think at first in Maine when no one was around, and after a little while as well, it's a sort of a thing to do. At first you got to learn how. Right. And then you're beginning to get the effects and then whatnot, and you can inhale, and once you can inhale, then you can get a little buzz off it. And but it's kind of, it's a thing people do to relax, to think, to have a coffee, to whatever. But the truth is, it's a thing when you sit down to do it, it gives you time with yourself. And what I think for all smokers, it becomes a friend.
Yeah.
It's always there with you.
Yeah.
Nothing would disappoint you more than your friend getting wet.
Yeah.
Oh, I dropped it in a puddle. My whole pack of cigarettes would be a disaster. Right?
You know what? I mean, but that's true. That's how they think.
Yeah.
You protect your friend. Well, it doesn't let you down. It doesn't argue with you. It's not good for you, but it's not bad for you. That's the problem. You can't talk to me now. Sorry, I forgot to mute me. So anyway, you can't. What was I just saying? You can't.
With your friend, you can't get away from them.
Yeah, because it's always there for you. And then you begin to associate it with like me sitting down alone on the porch in Maine, stealing my parents' butts, and then later, and I don't know, I was probably about like you, 15, and I was listening to a show on the news the other day where they were talking about, oh, we're going to reduce the amount of nicotine in cigarettes because that'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had Camel filters I smoked, and I was up around a pack a day, and I thought, wow, they came out with these new things called Camel Lights. So I'm like, they'll be less bad for me. So I got those. Now I'm smoking a little more than a pack and a half of those. And I said, well, that's bad for me. I know what I'll do. I'll go to Merit. Well, it took me a while. I tried a Carlton once. I don't know if you ever did that. I don't think. Hopefully they don't still make them. They were terrible. And you sucked on them and nothing came out. But Merit Ultralights turned out to actually last a little bit. Like, lighter cigarettes tend to burn really fast. And the thing is, you can haul on them and you still get something from those taste-wise and whatever else. But the truth is, then I was a 2.5 pack a day smoker.
Wow.
Oh,
Now so I quit a few times. I quit when I was 18. I thought I should quit. I thought I should quit. So I found, here's a guy who does hypnotism. Well, $600 later, he hadn't really hypnotized me, and I'm out $600 and, damned if I'm not going to succeed. So I actually quit. And then someone gave me a cigar to celebrate graduating high school. And I was up over Boston watching the sunrise, and I lit up the cigar. Well, by the end of the summer, I was having a cigar every day before I went to Harvard.
wow.
But I said, I had said I'm not smoking because, I'm not going to do that. I'll quit by then. Right. And I went and saw this hypnotist. So, then I went out and played squash once. I gave up on crew immediately. That took about 3 weeks. And so I started playing squash, and I really loved that. But I'm like, wow, if I'm going to get any good, I got to quit. So I actually just made myself quit, which was tough. But after that was over that year, at the end of that year, I smoked from then until February of 1984. When one day I had to prepare at MIT my first public seminar. And unlike right now, the idea of standing in front of a bunch of people, and I suppose there's someone behind the screen here listening.
Right.
I had 6 cigarettes going at one time. I just stopped. The thing I said, okay, my roommate, Bill D'Elia, he had been on the Cape, and he came back with all these ashtrays, and they were all, seashells. So we had them around our apartment, and I was going through these stacks of papers, and I was drawing, and it's really meticulous. This is pre-computer. So he used ink, and you're drawing with this stencil, and if the ink goes under the stencil, it goes and ruins the whole page. You have to start over again. So it was stressful, tense stuff, and you'd be at it, but you couldn't do it with 2 hands. You had to do it with 2 hands. So I'd put the cigarette down, and then I'd be thinking, okay, what am I going to do next? Because I didn't know, design the slides first, then draw them. So I was doing it as I went, and I had no time left. And I looked up once, and I stopped, and I lit a cigarette, and I noticed, wow, there are like 5 other smoke signals coming up from over the mountains by the teepees there, where I lit them and just put them down so I could work.
Wow.
And that's when I said, this is it. I got to stop this.
Incredible.
Right.
So I actually got Nicorette gum. I hated it. I tried it actually the first day that I quit. And that day was a terrible day because the night before I was watching some movie, and I ran out of cigarettes. It's like 8:00, 8:30. And tomorrow's the first day I quit. No, I went out, I bought another pack and smoked it before I went to bed. So I get up the next morning. Yeah. Oh no, it was bad. It was bad. So I got up the next morning, and within everything happened in threes. 3 seconds later, it's like, I had a nicotine fit, right?
Right.
And about 3 minutes later, I better go get in the shower now, because you can't smoke in the shower.
Right.
I suppose you can. I don't know anyone who does that. And good luck to them, right? So anyway, then probably 30 minutes later, I'm down making a cup of coffee or something, and I was like, because I always did that. And then I'm, going to MIT, and I smoked 2 cigarettes on the way to MIT every time driving over. And you're every single one of those situations you smoke, you have to live through them without smoking and retrain yourself. So I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there. My mom quit. She calls me. I was at MIT, and she goes, "What do I do now?" And I said, "What do you mean, what do I do now?" And she said, "The Challenger just blew up." I'm like, "Mom, what are you talking about?" She goes, "The shuttle." I said, "The shuttle blew up?" She says, "Yeah, the shuttle blew up. What do I do now?" I said, "Mom, there's nothing you can do about the shuttle blowing up."
Right.
She says, "No, but remember I said I was going to quit smoking. Today was the day." And I said, "Mom, I know you want one." I said, "But this, if you get through this, you can get through anything." So she's now 91 and still doesn't smoke from that day. Yeah.
Oh,
Bless
wow.
her. Bless her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful,
I'll tell you,
wonderful.
man, the
Yeah.
power of the mind,
So-
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also to have a wonderful cheerleader in your corner too. You know, my family has been absolutely amazing. But my very good friend who motivated me, I'm gonna give her a shout out, Annette. Hey girl. Hey Annette. Every single day she texted me, "You got this, girl. You can do this. How are you
Yep.
doing?
Yep.
You know, don't worry. Don't do, you know, don't think about having a cigarette." And she did this every single day for a straight month.
Yeah.
And
And-
that really that helped as well. That helped.
Yeah, I
as
mean, a lot
well.
of things help. Like you really should write down, where do I smoke? Where don't I smoke?
Right. Yeah.
And then go fill your time for a while with those.
Yeah.
But you're going to still go bump into someone you smoked with. You're going to bump into a
Yeah.
cup of coffee. You're going to have all that stuff happen.
Yeah.
So it's tough. You got to really erase those things over the course of time, you know, by living through them without smoking and learning how to be an ex-smoker. And that's what you want to do, because basically once a smoker, always a smoker.
Right.
You are one cigarette away from thinking, "Oh, that was kind of nice." And like 2 weeks later, you'll go, "Yeah, that was okay." And then after a month, you're back to it. So
Yeah.
and the truth is, everyone who quits successfully,
Yeah.
on average, tries 6 to 9 times before they succeed.
Wow.
I mean, it's just because they learn they can't. I mean, they probably succeeded every time, at least some amount.
Right.
Right.
I mean, Mark Twain and my dad used to say, "I quit after every cigarette." You know? So,
there you go. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bedtime then.
yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
Jonathan, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
what was your motivation or incentive in behind the creation of Chantix?
Okay, so my good friend Brian O'Neill was on that program. I was working on an antidepressant approach. You know, things like Prozac come on slowly. And it takes 6 weeks or so, they say, before the effects begin to show themselves. And so I was working on that. And then we had quarterly meetings, and there was a big quarterly meeting coming up. I mean, we had ours, but Brian's team, which was a nicotinic partial agonist team, was having a meeting about what appeared to be success. I didn't know what it was about, and I was going to be at the meeting anyway, but this room was packed. So I'm sitting in the back corner and watching. And when he got to the chemistry part, because some of the other stuff was like, you know, a lot of terminology in an area I didn't know that well, he showed the molecule, and the molecule it's very small. It was one from nature. It's called cytosine. And he had found that if he modified cytosine in a particular place in an unexpectedly simple way, making a 1 atom change, the stuff worked fantastically. And the whole room was like, "Wow, that looks like a real drug, you know, candidate, you know, medicinal candidate." And that's what our job is. I mean, as medicinal chemists, which is what you do after synthetic, if you go into, say, pharmaceuticals or biotech, you're trying to help find the medicines that fit in that hole, right? The one that's there. So he'd found it, it seemed, and everyone was all excited. And then the news came through that, so what's the problem with that? Why can't that be a medicine? And he said, well, actually, it's really expensive. The starting stuff that comes from plants is $1.7 million a kilo.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ooh,
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Woo.
So that's when I went down and started looking at the molecule more carefully, and sort of probably didn't pay attention to much anything else, because a couple of minutes later, probably, I think it was that quick, I came up with an approach that could make the compound. So in a way, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I can help him out making that, or analogs that look, you know, varied variations on that, to hopefully come up with something. And I happen to have something from this antidepressant approach in my lab. And it was a reaction I was doing with that triggered my thinking. And so I went over to Brian. I said, hey, Brian, look at this. And he goes, wow, that's really cool. And I said, yeah, you want to do it? And he goes, look, I got my own ideas how to make it. If you want to do it, go ahead. So I wasn't on the project, but somewhere around 4 o'clock every day, I mean, I was getting in early anyway. I'd be doing my work and stuff, but all day long thinking about, oh, I'm going to go try making it because it was short. And 5 weeks later, I walked in. I said, here's a picture of it. And he knew I was working on it, but the end of it went quickly. And I come on in with a derivative that I knew he would have made. And he pulls out a picture of it. We use magnetic resonance spectroscopy, or MRI, basically. It's called NMR, nuclear. We don't use that word for people, but that's what you're getting, frankly, having an MRI. So it all started with spinning a tube with a compound in a solution in a machine. And he pulled out his spectrum of N-benzyl cytosine, and mine went right. It was identical. Wow. And he goes, wow, you have it. So then we went for a run. And we came in afterwards and we sat there and we had lunch. And he says, so what do you want to do? And I said, what do you mean? He said, you want to join the team? And so I got on the team. So for me, though, the relevance of like having been a smoker, had all this stuff go on there and whatnot. So in a way, that was, I mean, yeah, depression's a big deal. But, you know, it turns out that nicotine addiction is pretty immense, and I'm probably getting worse because of all the vaping products that are out now. So it's really delivering exactly the same thing that's in cigarettes, which was, by the way, denied by all CEOs in front of the Senate, raising their hand, swearing, no, we don't know it's addictive. And then every one of them died of lung cancer.
Wow.
That in front of the Senate, I think in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a journey, and it all started from that. I got invited on the team, and then, you know, it wasn't instantaneous what happened after that. I mean, we can go into that, but I'll let you got some things here Sandy, you're gonna bring up, I can tell.
You see it all over his face, huh?
Well, like I said, you know, we talked offline. We've talked offline. Like I said, this is my brother from another mother, and like I said, we talked offline, and we did a lot of soul searching with each other. That's why we cut. That's why we always say skin is in.
Yeah, that's right.
But the thing about it is that, you know, there are a lot of outside forces that, you know, we know as well that try to protect their product or whatever by doing certain things, and it can be a dog fight world. We all know that. And you know, me myself, just knowing from, you know, being with my wife and seeing how smoking can affect something and how smoking can do damage on the body, and for others to sit out there and say, well, you know what, I don't, like you just said, I didn't realize it did that. You know, the damage that it does, it not just the damage to your body. If nicotine or whatever, or tar will tar, you move a picture in your house, a guy who smokes in his house, and you can see where that picture was. Then your insides are so delicate, brother.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? That's so cool, but it's not cool, you know?
Right.
Actually, can you see this? I'm looking at a screen. It's not the one I expected, but
okay.
I was going to show you. Want me to share something here?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay, let's go see. Where's my share button? Oh, hang on. I got 3 screens going here because the world is crazy. I'm going to hit share and see what happens.
Okay.
Yes, I understand. I can proceed. So let's say I go here. There's going to be a problem with this because can you see it now? You should be able to see it.
Let me see if. Yep, there you go. There you go. I got you.
Okay.
I got you, brother.
When I use this slide, you know, only bad comes from smoking, and it doesn't. You can't see the second line there, so ignore the second line because that's sort of the joke about it. Yeah, what's it doing to you? Look at every single aspect of what cigarette smoking does to you. It's not good. I mean, even look at the reproductive. You know, oh, what's that? Well, erectile dysfunction. Turns out that a majority of people who actually need to use things for that, things like Viagra and whatnot, are smokers. Like almost half of them. Okay, one you wouldn't even think of. So this one it says other. There's low bone density on the bottom there in the middle.
Wow.
Hip fractures and stuff like that. So it turns out that when you break a bone and you're a smoker, you have basically, it's going to take you more than twice as long for that bone to heal.
Oh my God.
Mm.
So, you know, and so when you look at this list of the things that it does, I mean, let's have an abdominal aortic aneurysm. Wouldn't that be fun? I mean, so if you knew all that, okay, but you know, like I say, only bad comes from smoking, except for the years of enjoyment, and I guess a lot of money in the pockets of those who grow it. They're basically growing money.
Right.
I mean, it's sort of like, why is Putin doing what he's doing? Could be because he wants money, and
Right.
it comes from things like oil and control and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, that's a little bit of reality. You want to give you a couple other little factoids here?
Come on,
Yes.
brother. Come on. You the
Oh,
inventor.
these
of this
little
thing, brother. This
factoids.
is huge.
Okay, hang on a second. I gotta move my slide here. Okay. Well, okay, this is numbers from a while back. So there actually are fewer smokers in the US now than ever before since probably the 30s. But that's because of vaping. Vaping is way, way up. And it actually made a lot of people do that instead of smoking. It's probably not as bad for you because you don't take in 4,000 chemicals.
Right.
Right.
There are questions about what it does and popcorn lung and stuff like that. But half of the people in the world who smoke will die of smoking related illness. It's bad, right?
Right.
And then, you know, oh, this is cool. I like this. So, you know, why was it cultivated? Like, this is one of the earliest things on the planet ever found to have been cultivated, like in rows in the Andes Mountains in South America. And I was like saying how, wow, look at that. The AP actually captured this woman. You know, they were really good. The media back 17,000 years ago.
Right.
That's a good picture
Yeah.
for back then.
Yeah. I mean, the clarity is just,
It's phenomenal. It's crazy.
Yeah,
And who says the
So why were-
Flintstones were fake?
Oh yeah. Hey, come on. Barney Rubble was, I mean, you know, Wilma, got the whole crew. So anyway, but the only reason is because there's nicotine in it. I'd be a lie anybody to go find any cigarette you can buy now that doesn't have nicotine. There's
Right.
only one that I know of. It's clove cigarettes.
Mm.
Now there's a reason for that. When you smoke, it triggers stuff. Okay, let's get into the trigger. Ready for? I'll get a little science
Oh,
here. Why
yeah.
not? Okay. Well, I wish I gotta see if I can find a way. I'm gonna click this. You tell me if it disappears. Did it disappear?
Nope.
No, it's there.
We still got
Oh,
it.
good. You still
looks,
see it.
Looks
Oh,
good
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. This one's pretty cool, huh? Okay. So, did you know that? Okay, like when you smoke a cigarette, it goes in your lungs. Yeah, but your lungs actually turn out really good at absorbing something. Do you know what that is?
What's that? Smoke?
Oxygen. Well, oxygen. Okay, they're designed for that, but it turns out they're really, really good at absorbing a lot of things, like take crack cocaine, right? Stuff like that.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, nicotine, though, it gets into the bloodstream really, really well. And I'll prove that. I can prove that with another slide I forgot to put together, but I can get to it. Anyway, so what it does, it gets in through your lungs, and then about 20% or so of the blood that comes out of or the air that comes out of your lungs going into your bloodstream goes to your brain within 5 to 7 seconds. And what happens then is the nicotine activates this little receptor here, which is it's a nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. But this is in a thing called the mesolimbic system. This is the reward system, one of the many factors that's involved in every addictive behavior and process and drug. All of them, when they activate the system, and there are other ways to activate the system, but for nicotine, it goes here to the VTA, hits these receptors, and it normally binds to this stuff called acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that leads to the release of, if this works right, you bind, here are the receptors, that's what they look like.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then it leads to the release of dopamine.
Right.
And yep.
Okay, and you've all probably heard something about dopamine, but basically think of that as making you go, that feels good, do that again.
Yep.
Okay, so that's great. Except what happens then is when you're not smoking, it goes away. And all you got to do to get it back is, I always like how I feel when I have a cup of coffee because I activate this and I do it again, right? So it becomes self-regulated by the smoker. So this is my depiction of a thing we haven't 100% proved in people, but we have in animals. So when I woke up in the morning especially that day, no, but any day when I smoked, I have low levels of dopamine because I'm not activating that system.
Right.
All right. Unless I had like some intense dream or Val with me, something like that. Sorry, Val.
Right.
I didn't say it that way. But, hey, we're hundreds of miles away from each other. Okay.
Right.
So now when you smoke, though, what happens is you get this immediate surge in a couple of seconds of dopamine release. And that feels good. And you associate it with the cigarette. So now you get, oh, when I smoke, I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out there aren't any nicotine-free cigarettes because in the absence of, well, a lot of people who use Chantix tell me that they hated their cigarettes after they started using it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is they taste terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say they taste good, but actually in the absence of this signal in your brain, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They taste like what non-smokers think it smells like and feels like to be around a smoker. It's kind of gross.
That's interesting. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So like what is called the reward system for that. I mean, this is sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Okay.
Right.
I mean, literally, it really is. Okay.
Yeah.
It's bungee jumping. You go jump off a bungee and what happens, like, oh, the excitement of it, you're getting just a huge charge of that. So what happens then though, is it fades out within about 15, 20 minutes. It drops quite a bit and you'll know it's dropping, but it's this low level that makes you want to smoke. So you smoke again and you smoke again. Okay. So the whole idea behind nicotine replacement therapy, which is giving nicotine by another route, the concept was that, well, if I give them a little nicotine, then they won't have those low levels of dopamine that make them feel like they have to smoke. So the low level of dopamine is like if you hold your breath. If anyone watching this show right now, just stop breathing. Don't take a breath, then stop breathing. Just stop breathing for about 15 seconds, 20 seconds while I'm talking, and you'll begin to realize if I don't breathe now, I gotta breathe, right? So that's what the urge to smoke feels like. It almost comes from within you. You start getting distracted by, oh, I really need a smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway, you go off, have a smoke. So nicotine replacement therapy, in theory, was supposed to get rid of that low level. And it's true. It actually does to some extent. The problem is if you go look for nicotine replacement therapy, you'll find hundreds of different kinds at stores or tens of them. And they all deliver it different amounts with different doses by different routes of administration from, inhaling. Vaping, right, is another way to do it. But vaping looks so much like smoking on the left that people get wicked addicted to vaping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, NRT, what happens is this. Let's say, okay, I'm taking the patch and I quit smoking, or I'm chewing the gum and I quit smoking. But I'm with my buddy Val, and Val smokes. So, let's say, so the friend of yours that quit. Well, if they smoke on top of nicotine replacement, now they're getting the nicotine from the cigarette as well as the patch.
Mm.
If you overdose on nicotine, you actually get sweaty palms. Your mouth will start watering in a bad way. You can feel crappy because you've overdosed essentially on nicotine. And typically what people will do is give up the nicotine replacement therapy because they actually enjoyed the smoking more. So the whole concept behind Chantix is this. So nicotine is a full agonist, meaning the top of this peak is the biggest response you can get from the system, at least from nicotine, but it turns out it's identical to acetylcholine's response. So, and the acetylcholine is there, your body re-signals through that. That's like the rewards, that's sex, not drugs. It's food. It's a great movie where you get, oh, I love that movie. And okay, that's partly because you're getting this system to fire. Okay, so a partial agonist would be something that doesn't give you this full response. And so the whole concept actually looks a lot like nicotine replacement therapy. But what this was that hole I was saying a molecule fills in.
Right.
A partial agonist, just think about it as like a 50-watt light bulb going into a 100-watt socket. So if nicotine is a 100-watt light bulb, you get that much juice out of it, right?
Right.
Imagine if you had a 50-watt one and it doesn't go higher than that because it can't. It is half, if you will, of what nicotine is. Now, the good part is it's sitting in that hole where the nicotine would go.
Right,
and if you do it right, now the nicotine can't get there if what we made competes better for that spot. That was the
Mm.
concept. So now when I push the button again, you'll notice, because now if you smoke,
Yep,
it's
you're not
going in
reaching
your
those peaks.
body. Exactly.
I like it. See,
So-
I told
Brilliant.
you.
Just
I told
freaking
you.
brilliant.
I was
Oh
the
my
guy.
God.
Dude,
Well, I actually, okay, Val, I didn't come up with the concept. Okay. But I will say I was seriously involved once I got involved. But the cool thing about this is what this does is it makes cigarettes nicotine free. So if you smoke them, you don't get a response.
Mm.
So it's not only protecting you from having the low levels that would make you feel the need to smoke, it's also protecting you from getting a response,
Right,
a
that high.
nicotinic-like response when you smoke. So it's an antagonist of nicotine while at the same time being a partial light bulb or partial nicotinic agonist on its own. So that's sort of the definition of a partial agonist, which can be very difficult to explain, so to speak. But this guy, this is the greatest chemist in the history of the world. I don't think too many people would argue with me. Some might feel like, oh, well, I'm pretty good too. But so here's a life too short. So he died right before. No, I was at Harvard, but I hadn't met him yet. My Harvard professor was his first graduate student, actually, and I think, well, at Harvard in the 1940s, and he made quinine. First total synthesis of quinine. And that's what this guy was known for. I mean, he was brilliant. Nobel Prize, kind of had 5 Nobel Prizes. That's another story. But anyway, he had read the Surgeon General's report and he quit smoking. And they used to have these Saturday luncheons. And he's like, Bob, you're not smoking. And he said, yep, haven't smoked in 4 weeks. And that was easy. But I believe I'd now like to write a book entitled The Evils of Not Smoking by R.B. Woodward. Yeah. For since quitting, I've developed a mean disposition, gets confused, can't add 2 columns of numbers, screwed up his memory, can't remember the compounds he's made, the syntheses, all the stuff he's done. The ... was, it had an impact on his sex life, and I'm always irritable. Okay, so those are some of the tools I use when I present this. I don't want to spend too much more time with that, but I got to figure out how I get back to my little button to undo me. You can't undo me, can you?
Oh yeah, I can do you. There you go.
Oh man, there we are. Okay.
I told you, brother.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how it works. It's pretty cool. I can only remember the question anymore. Do you remember the question?
Yeah, I mean, you gave us it. I mean, you
incredible.
explained
That's
it in layman's
incredible.
terms, which was phenomenal because, like I told you, I'm that guy. I see that round hole, and I know, screw goes in there. And you showed me, and what, like you say, blocking. That's the main thing, blocking those receptors that take it to that higher level of enjoyment. When you take that away, then it becomes you sit there and say, why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly. And what's really cool, I mean, one of the things you'd worry about is like, well, can acetylcholine, which is the natural ligand for that receptor, still work? Right. And it turns out that thing is released in cells throughout your body. Okay, right now, you guys wiggle your little toe. Okay, wiggle your big toe.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
The little one, I don't know.
Yeah, because I can't do the little one.
I just tried, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I've never done that. Right? The people who weren't breathing, so you could feel what it's like to have a nicotine fit. You can start breathing by now, or else you're dead. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, and if you didn't do that, go ahead and try it sometime. Just don't. It's like going swimming underwater and trying to go as far as you can, and you get to a point where like I got to go up and get air. Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it's like. I got to go out and have a smoke, and it gets really preoccupying, and you don't feel like yourself.
Yeah.
So the cool part is here's Val a few weeks later, and you pretty much are beginning to feel like yourself, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I share this story as often as I can. We have 12 beautiful grandbabies, and
we got a kickoff team.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
So we took one of them, our baby London, to one of the nearby parks here to play tennis. Trying to make a long story short, we actually cleaned 3/4 of our garage out, and what did we find? We found tennis rackets and balls, and I said, let's go. Now, we hadn't played in, gosh, I think maybe 5 years or something like that. Anyway, so we're out to this park, and Sanders is doing something. London and we started playing. We played for an hour and 15 minutes, and I did not die. I did not fall out after 5 minutes. I could breathe. It was incredible. Absolutely. I was like, shut the front door. It was, I couldn't believe it. I really could not believe it. I was like, this is awesome. This is like really, really, really awesome. So every time I want to smoke a cigarette, I think about being able to play tennis with my 10, soon to be 11-year-old grandbaby.
No, that exactly. No, that's great. And I will suggest that even with them, especially with them, maybe one of the faster growing sports in the country, maybe it'll expand beyond that, is pickleball. It's a lot like tennis.
Yeah, I've been hearing
it's really accessible to youngsters too. In fact, they'll probably be kicking our butts in no time if you teach them. But it's a blast. Go look it up.
I am I'm writing.
We could do another show on pickleball. I mean, I just started. My wife and I did a tournament. She's going to go play tomorrow, but I'm going golfing. But anyway, it's a great sport, and it's the same. But you're running a lot and doing stuff, and the number of things that you wouldn't have done because you did smoke.
Yeah,
it can become pretty large amount of your. I don't want to play this. I don't, because you might get embarrassed. You get winded. You can't do it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
No, that's a real problem.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm one of the cool kids now. Because people don't, like you said, there are less smokers today than they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's not cool to smoke. I mean, smokers are being ousted left and right. Where do you smoke? You can't smoke anywhere anymore.
Yeah. The thing about vaping though is that's why that's up so much, because unlike you had to smoke in the other room and everyone can smell it.
Yeah.
You can vape and people don't smell it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have the 3,999 other compounds in it that you can smell.
Right.
And all the carcinogens and all that stuff. So,
right.
In a way, so anyway, that's not good. I do think what I was saying about them thinking, let's reduce the amount of nicotine in cigarettes. Well, for people who actually smoke, it's going to happen like happened to me, I think. Lower nicotine level cigarettes are going to make you smoke more cigarettes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I am completely convinced that the tobacco industry was 100% sure that if you put less nicotine in, they'll smoke more, which means they buy more packages of cigarettes.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm sure some of them went to Harvard Business School and figured that out. Yeah. That took a genius, right? So it's like, I'm not getting enough of this drug. I mean, you probably said it about Val, and you need more Val when you don't get enough, right?
So you got it. Yeah, exactly. Overdose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give me back. I need some more Val. I only got half of her yesterday. Yeah, exactly.
But Jota, like I said, you know what? We got another 5 minutes with you, brother.
Yeah.
And then we're getting close to the end of the show. But I do.
Wow, that was quick.
I know, but I do want.
I talked too much. Told you.
No, this went too fast.
I do want to ask you about do you tell them quickly about some success stories that you've had with Chantix that me and you talked offline about some great success stories.
You know,
we know
besides
about you,
me,
but.
my wonderful
so people I know who quit. I was fortunate because they liked the way I presented this, what I understood and history and all that. And so I went to the product launch. You have to come because you're the inventor, and go speak to the sales force. And a product launch for a pharmaceutical company is basically the end of probably a 20-year long journey trying to find something. And the beneficiaries aren't just the public, it's the people who help interact with the doctors and the medical profession and the public and the FDA and everybody, all these other people. But the sales force that showed up for learning how to use Chantix, they have a week long, they got to go figure out every detail of everything that's in the label that comes with a drug that none of us reads, right? But they have to know all that so they can profile it to MDs and teach them about the medicine. They have to learn all about it themselves. So that was my biggest so far presentation, although this could be bigger. I have no idea. 3,600 people sitting in a room right in front of me.
Wow.
I don't read, and they told me I need to have a teleprompter. They gave me a speech writer, but fortunately she took everything I'd already said in other little vignettes and movies and stuff and that they did at work because, this looks like it's going to be successful. And I was involved in and developing a lot of material that she basically took my words. So it was my words more or less on the teleprompter. But I lost the teleprompter guy at one point. That was really cool. Because I ad-lib. They said, don't be married to the words. You don't want to go just after the Surgeon General's report. Okay, so I don't like slides with lots of words. So here I'm like supposed to be reading, and the guy, I lost him. So that was funny. Anyway, so there was this Christmas celebration. It was launched in August or July 25th, 2006. And I think that winter I went down, they invited me down to New York City for a big celebration with the marketing and sales people. And one of the first people came up to me. She and her husband both quit. And she told me, this is incredible. You know, I mean, A, I want to sell this stuff and I don't want to be a smoker, but B, I always wanted to quit. And it's like, it was incredible how easy it was to do it. And she goes, and one of the other things I didn't realize, was my favorite part maybe, was that there's this dreaming thing. And actually in all the clinical trials, it came out as memorable, movie-like, colorful, and enjoyable. Now, if you wear a patch at night, you have horrible dreams. And that all comes down to pharmacology that we probably don't fully understand about why is that true. But it could be other receptors that nicotine hits, and varenicline is incredibly specific. But anyway, she goes, and one of my favorite parts was if I got up to go to the bathroom, I got woken up, I could go back to sleep and get right back in the same dream. And she really loved that. So there was that. And then I got a letter from a guy who said, you don't know me from Adam, but you got to hear from me because your impact on me. Well, I got this slide. I could go hunt for it. Anyway, he goes, was incredible after smoking for this many years, blah, blah, blah. And, I work in sales, and I basically am on the phone selling. It was transportation equipment for like roadblocks and stuff where they're doing construction. And he sells it all over the country and other parts of the world. And so he's kind of talking to deliver stuff. And he said, yeah, my whole life, I've had the other people on the other end of the phone. They get their coffee, they got their cigarettes. I got this, and I used it to quit, and I couldn't believe it. It was like, it was so easy to do. So I think I could be your best salesman. I already have 24 friends who quit in the last month.
Wow. Since
they told me. And then I bet you I've got 400 other people I've told about it. And I talk to them all the time, and they keep finding out I've quit, and a bunch of them are trying it. So that was cool. But
wow.
People walking down the hall at work had, well, someone wouldn't tell me they're taking it until it actually worked, so I didn't go through their experience. And one of the tough things is, in clinical trials, they collect data,
right,
at all points. People taking it for like, how long did they take it? How well did it work? I mean, I'd love to go talk about side effects that you don't need to have if you read the label and if your doctor knew what to do. Like if you're having nausea when you're taking it, drink a full glass of water. It says so right on the label.
Right.
They don't say that, right? And then dreaming. Okay. I take a morning dose and a night dose. Mafal, when did you take the doses?
I took it in the morning and at night.
Yeah. And when at night?
Oh, like about 6, no later than 7, because good. I was concerned that I would start having some nightmarish dreams. So yeah, I was like, no, I'm not.
Did you have any dreaming effects?
No.
Okay. So there are 2 things you can do about it. Well, maybe more than that, but that you did the right thing. You're supposed to take it around a meal at dinner time. And it says so. But I think, I got to take 2 doses of this. Most people probably do it when they wake up and they go to sleep. It takes 4 hours for it to reach a peak in your system. And that's right around when you have REM activity in sleep. So if you take it at 11 o'clock, at 3 in the morning, it'll be peaking. So if you're having an impact from it on your dreaming, whether you like it or not, you're more likely to have those dreams if you take the drug later at night. So don't take it then. Try taking it when it says so, right on the label, right? But people don't say that.
Right.
The other thing is, if it works for you and you got through the whole day without taking the second dose at night, don't take it. You're going to be asleep. Just plan to take it in the morning, right? So you don't really need it to keep you quitting at night. And so that's an opportunity. The other thing you do is take less of it. They come in 0.5 mg and 1 mg tablets. And frankly, the 0.5 mg we just didn't do a lot of trials on that, but there were virtually no side effects on that when it was looked at in trials. I mean, like virtually nothing.
Wow.
So the biggest one was nausea. And the whole reason is it passes quickly as nausea. It hits you in the stomach a little bit. And that's because it gets to a concentration. Like when you take a pill, what do? You take a little sip of something till you get it past here.
Yeah.
But when it gets in your stomach, you actually have a local high concentration of it in your stomach. And there are receptors there that are they're intended by God himself, okay, and nature, God, to make you puke out things that irritate your stomach.
Right.
And through the same receptor that varenicline barely hits. It's it's 30,000 times less potent there than it is in the one that we wanted to target.
Right.
But that it causes emesis, which is, but it doesn't go that far. It doesn't make most people puke. It passes. And the reason it passes is because those are in your stomach. And once it gets past your stomach, you don't have that. But if you just have a glass of water, it goes away, or it doesn't happen. So I got a lovely letter from a guy in Zurich, Switzerland. Oh, I've been taking it. It makes me quit. But what do you do about the nausea? I said, well, when do you take it? He goes, well, I take it in the morning. I said, well, how do you take it? He goes, what do you mean? I said, what do you take it with? He said, sorry, I don't know what accent I'm doing. Anyway, he says, I take it with a shot of espresso on an empty stomach.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, well, that could be your problem. Because what do you mean?
Yeah.
So I explained to him what I just told you.
Yeah.
And then I was hoping to hear back from him, and I didn't. And then all of a sudden, he sends me back this great chart. It was an Excel spreadsheet saying, I'm sorry I did not reply back immediately. I was doing my own experimenting. So he did like a liter of water, a half a liter, like 300 milliliters, 100 milliliters, and a shot of espresso.
Wow.
At a 1 to 5 scale. And told when he took it. And it was like, wow, that really works. All you need to do is have about, just a reasonable glass of water with it, and you're fine.
Right.
So,
Right.
So anyway, almost everything that has been said about it being bad has either ways to avoid it, things like those, or it doesn't do it. Because almost every side effect that people have is exactly the same as if you stop smoking without it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
100% agreed.
Right.
100% agreed.
Right.
Oh, it made me crazy. Really? Well, actually, not smoking makes most people crazy.
You were crazy before you took it.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Well, yeah. If he yanked your cigarettes away from you 2 months ago, you wouldn't have been too happy.
We probably would not be doing this podcast.
That's right. Well, we definitely wouldn't have been doing this. Yeah, because he probably would have thrown him in a puddle, right?
Right, probably.
Yeah.
Well, Jotham,
We're running out of time, aren't we? I'm sorry.
You are phenomenal talent.
Genius.
Yep.
Hero.
Like my wife says, she says the genius in you. But before we wrap it up, this is one of the more phenomenal interviews that we've done. And I love your energy. I love the things about you. Like I said, guys, when I tell you this man and I talk offline, and he's a phenomenal conversationalist. I love this guy. One thing I want to ask you is, let everybody know what are you up to and what things
what's
are
next.
Yeah, what's
for
next
Dr. Cole? What is next? Because I tell you, and you got to Google this man, and you will find his full length bio. But you Google exceptional human being. He has done a lot of potty mouth. I want to cuss, but my husband said I can't. He's done so much in his life, and we just want to know what's next. What's coming?
Honestly, my biggest hope for thing is to help somebody who has experience preventing metastatic cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I think I know exactly how to help. And hopefully the guy there's somebody I need to meet soon, hopefully Monday, who already has the technology to make a simple thing that won't cost any money.
Wow.
And it's essentially, I believe, it hasn't been proven in every cancer, and I'm sure FDA, who knows what they'd say, but basically, what kills most people from cancer isn't the primary cancer, it's the one that comes back.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree with you.
That's metastatic cancer. and it usually spreads, and it's usually an offshoot of the original one, and that's a problem. And so I know somebody who has basically saved every single person that she caught in time from getting from one of the worst breast cancers you can get. It's a death sentence.
Wow.
And if somewhere in the order of 84 people that she gave it to in a trial that she began, somebody's been alive now 17 years, still takes the same thing every day.
Wow.
And so there's 72 out of 84 people who would have all been dead within a year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So
incredible.
I've been working to help her, and I've got a partner helping me to get this thing off the road. And actually, she's running a new clinical trial. And what I want to do is there's a device I want to make that makes it possible for somebody at home to know how they're doing and whether or not to take more of this, call it vitamin, and to regulate your levels, because it's a pain in the ass to go give blood and go to a hospital and wait 3 weeks to get an answer and all that stuff.
Right.
She had people flying from all over the world monthly, and they're all alive.
Incredible. That's incredible.
So
wow.
She's done the hard work. There was another gentleman up at University of Michigan who basically initiated it, didn't have it kill cancer, it slowed it. And then she said, well, what's going on there? Why is it slowing it? And then she did a lot of research to figure this out. She was at Cornell, and then she was at Sloan Kettering, and she was the head of breast cancer research down at Cornell. And now she's the head of that up at Dartmouth Medical School. So
wow.
That's one thing. I could keep going, but we probably run out of time.
Now, give us a couple more if you want to.
Well, okay. So in my, call it daily retired work with the other people at our little Biopharma Works company, we all worked at Pfizer. We're working on many things, from some neurological conditions, Parkinson's, things like that, a number of different cancers. We're working on depression, anxiety, PTSD and whatnot. What else? So I'm now, we're working on a particular approach to cancer that's so promising that everybody who worked on it did so for over 10 years, and they all failed for the same reason. And so that one's a tough one, but I think we're on the right track to get around the problem that everyone encountered, and then they abandoned their programs. So those are fun. I got to keep thinking. I've got a couple more. So I got like 6 different things right now.
That's incredible. You
but
just stay busy. Stay busy.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. If, eat less, do more. It's
saving the world one day at a time. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
And science is fun, and having an impact is great. And we all try. I mean, all the people I always worked with, I mean, it was phenomenal to be around so many fantastic people. So,
hey guys, like we said, you heard it here tonight on Hot Topics with him and her, the phenomenal Jotham Cole.
Dr. Jotham Cole.
That's it. I told him too. I gotta push the doctor because he is the man. Dr. J ain't got nothing on Dr. Cole.
All right. Amen. Amen. Yeah. Say it again.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's great to meet you guys, and especially he's my brother from another mother, and you could be, exactly. So congratulations, Val, though. Keep putting your money away.
Absolutely.
Remember, you're getting a match, and then I get the place you're going. I won't tell anyone, but you maybe will tell them later on the show.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna have to do this again. I appreciate you, and I'm speaking for millions of people. They appreciate you too, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time out to visit with little old us, because you are such an esteemed gentleman. So thank you.
Yeah,
I
Jonathan,
appreciate you.
We would love to have you back on the show down the line. Just
catch
up
and
follow up on Val.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah.
And like I said, I would love to have you back because you're my brother and you're a phenomenal talent. Guys, give much pleasure to this guy before he heads out. Give him his hand, like I said, what he deserves. Jonathan
how about these guys for building this? I think you guys are terrific. You're just terrific. So thanks for having me on. It's great to meet you.
Yes.
All right.
Back at
We
you.
will be in touch, Jonathan. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you,
All
Dr.
right.
Cole. Thank you.
Guys, like we said, it's a
That was
phenomenal
great.
show.
That was
We
great.
had
He's
one of the-
amazing.
Yeah, we had
He
one of the
is
great ones out there.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I am just so happy and excited that he was the man to jumpstart this season. I am ecstatic about that. Absolutely. I couldn't have pictured anyone else but him.
Oh yeah.
To
and
do
just
this. And he's just, I can't say this, as you all heard and saw, incredible. That
Yeah,
man is a
yeah.
freaking genius.
Well-
Genius. Oh my gosh.
well, guys, like we said, you know what? We don't push any type of medicines on people
Not
or
at all.
ABCD. This
Not at
just it just what worked for us.
It worked for me.
Right.
You know, and it worked for my good friend. You know, because when she quit and when she was in the process of quitting, you know, she said, this is what I'm doing. And I actually found a doctor and set up a doctor's appointment because prior to that, I did not have a doctor, and you need it by prescription only. You just can't, you know, go to the store and get it. You have to have a doctor's prescription. As well, here in New York State, I don't know about other areas, but here you do. So I found a doctor just specifically to get the prescription of Chantix. And like I said, I'll hold my little box up again. This is a starter. It was a starter kit. I don't know if you guys can see, and I didn't open it up earlier, but I don't know. So I took first 2 weeks, and then this was for a month, and I still have 2 weeks left, but I haven't needed it in 3 weeks, and that's how amazing. And I'm not pushing it either. This is, you know, what worked for me, but that's how amazing
Right.
this is.
Yeah, and that, like she said, that's what worked for her. Maybe it might not be the best thing for you, but like
Absolutely.
you said, but
just try to quit. That's what
that's
I
the main
am
thing.
gonna say. I am gonna push that out there. Just try to quit. And I know it's a day. I want a freaking cigarette every single day. I want a cigarette. But you know what? Why go back now? So, you know, try to do something. Try to use something. For some people, cold turkey is the key. For others, you need some sort of assistance. So just try to quit. Listen, if after 30 years of smoking I can do it, you can do it too.
that's it, baby. Hey guys, like we said, phenomenal show tonight. Big guest. This is what's going to
Huge.
be starting to be the norm here on Hot Topics with him and her. So put your seatbelts on, get ready. It's a new season. It's a new thing for us, and we're building this channel. So make sure you check us out. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be streaming also to Facebook as well.
So
and we're
if
going to
you're
be venturing
watching
out to
this,
some of the other ones.
yeah. So if you're watching this via YouTube, please don't forget, hit the subscribe button. We're not doing weekly. We're doing every other week.
Right.
We're coming at you. So make sure that you tune in. You never know
Yeah.
who's going to be on, what we're going to talk about. And if you have any topics that you think are hot, let us know.
Yeah. And usually we're going to be an hour show, just to let you guys know. But this was a special night, our season premiere. So we'll let you guys know we were back.
Because we had to give a whole hour to Dr. Cole. We had to give it to that man,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. For sure.
Great individual.
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
guys. Till we see you next time on Hot Topics with him and her.
All right. Good night, beautiful people.